Hi, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Rich Clark and I've been a hypnotherapist for the last 8 years and a holistic therapist for the last 15 years. So, unfortunately the last week I haven't been able to do any posts. I've been not very well and I've just kind of got over a bug since Monday, so I'm now better as of today. So I'm going to talk about something here about coming up for the new year. Something that's very important is changing your direction in life. And this applies to career, friendships, relationships and so forth. So the actual advice, though it's more based on career ideas, is actually the same for everything. So I'm going to start off here. So changing your career direction is a significant decision that requires careful thought and planning. You can't just do it straight off. And here are some steps and considerations to help you navigate this transition. So the first one is self-reflection. So the idea of self-reflection, and because of being a hypnotherapist, one of the things is when most people come to hypnotherapists is self-reflection is about where are they and where should they be. So the first thing is take time to understand your motivations for wanting a career change. And what is that career change? Is that because it's not the career you ever wanted to do and you've ended up doing the job just so you can make ends meet and survive and live? Is it because you were motivated by your social conditioning with your family and so forth, but not really doing the career you really want to as your passion? So this is the main thing to actually change that, is you have to assess your current skills, your strengths, your interests, and your values, right? And then within that is consider what you find fulfilling and what's missing in your current career. So when we look at this, is most people who go to a office or they work for someone, they feel they don't have enough time. You know, the average person, if you're in England, you have 3 weeks holiday. In America, it's a 1 week holiday. That's all you get. And then obviously you get Christmas Day and so forth. So most people find that the work versus their private life and their time of what they have off isn't matching. And so we see this rise of people who work digital nomads and so forth. So within this, we have to look at how does that happen? Well, you have to have something which obviously you can do on a computer or travel with. So that's one thing. 2, you have to think of the other things as well, is why do you want to change your career? Is it because you just don't like working, or is it because you want to do something which you think is going to be self-rewarding? However, with that, it's the self-rewarding, meaning that you won't be earning the money you've been earning before. So again, these are all sort of things you have to evaluate. So number 2, and this is the main one, is research and exploration. You can hear how my throat's still a bit bad. This is when you explore potential career paths that align with your interests and skills. Okay? And with that, when that means align with it, it means how do you make sure that it works, that you know that your skills you've got works with this career and how that's going to align to be successful. Because nobody does a career to not be successful. You know, as much as people go, oh, it's a hobby, it's not a hobby. Nothing is a hobby. If you need to make a living, you have to do something correct. Yeah. So conduct information interviews with professionals in fields you're interested in. So talk, and when that means you talk to people who are doing what you're doing or have a rough idea. Again, if you've got a specific idea you don't want them to let them know, then you can ask about certain things they do in their job which is similar, but do not let them know your business idea, because people do steal business ideas. The other thing is as well you have to look at is when you see people who are successful in what you want to become, that helps as well, because that also encourages you and pushes you to get to that point. So the other thing is then also, this is the main thing, is use online resources like job boards, career websites and professional networking platforms to gather insights. So this would be job boards in the UK, would be CV Library. Careers websites is like using Reed as a website to get agency work or whatever that is. Professional network platforms to gather insights is LinkedIn. Also look at maybe if you need extra training, look at other things you can do training online. So for example, this is one I would recommend is Courseive. If you want to learn more about AI programs and stuff, go on Courseive. It's £40 a month. It can be less than that, but also you can learn different things of how AI works. This is something I'm doing to actually learn more on that side. So when I want to work with my work, and when I see my work is going to transform and change, I need to know about that work. Also, I'm learning through another site how to learn about online trading as well. So again, just so I'm a hypnotherapist doesn't mean that's all I'm ever going to be. I'm going to do other work as well. So within this, we then look at the other one. It's number 3, and this is skill assessment and development. So the one thing is you've got to identify the skills required for your desired career path. So for example, if you decide you want to be a singer and you can't sing, Not really the ideal thing, is it? So the idea is, what would you do if you want to be a singer but you know your voice is not actually on point? Is then you would go to a singing teacher and you would build up that in your private time to do that. That's an example. But you could do also, like, for example, if you want to work you wanted to be a fashion designer, or you wanted to own your own business. Again, you need to meet business owners who run their own business and then understand the implications with that. In the UK at the moment, because of the national insurance hike they're going to do due to Keir Starmer's wonderful government, I'm saying that with a lot of irony, that's going to cause a lot of people to not want to go into self-employment and self-businesses, because it's going to be a bit of a wary thing. But again, it depends how you work. You see, if you do certain jobs where you set certain things up and you can then outsource, and that outsourcing goes to a country where you can pay staff less, but they still do the same quality of work, that's what people will do. So these are sort of things you have to think of. Evaluate your current skill set and determine gaps. So where's the gaps? Where's the gap in your skill set? So is there a gap so for my example, I'm getting all my website resorted, I'm getting a lot of other business sorted things out, and logo's going to be changed and so forth. This is all what's coming up in the new year for me. So that's gaps in my thing, because at the moment I should have more work and I don't, because my side of things are not professional enough, and I think for what I want in my career, that's what I'm doing. So I'm learning with people, learning to do things, learning how you can make things, how you can even design your own websites using AI and so forth. This is all stuff I'm learning, and also wanting to change like my shop profile, going to Shopify instead of WooCommerce, whatever that is. These are all different things you have to learn. And again, you've got to adapt. So again, you don't just think, oh, because this works and that worked 5 years ago. That doesn't mean that works now. Things change, things evolve, especially in technology. So again, also with your current skill set, look at where you determine your gaps. If you've got loads of gaps in your CV, you need to show that why you've got them. What are you also doing on that side? If you want to be working something, say you want to work in politics, but you don't write political articles, how would anybody know your opinion? You're just someone who just wants to get into politics. You need to create a status, create an image, create a profile. Yeah. So the other thing is with after you determine the skill sets, is create a plan to acquire new skills through, and this is what I was explaining. So online courses, loads of online courses are quite reasonable. You can go through Udemy, all these different things, and these things actually qualify you. And then obviously if you want to do that, then you have to get insured if you wanted to be, say, certain things. Professional certificates. So even though I'm a hypnotherapist, I don't just finish I did my hypnotherapy training years ago. I'm still training all the time. So I did a life coaching course with someone last year. I've already got a life coaching course, but I wanted to get something slightly different. It was a different way of doing it. So again, you're always applying these CPD points, like career professional development. You do that all the time, right? So this is something we always have to do, and get more certificates. If you wanted to do a completely different career and you saved enough money, you could do a degree. You could go into doing a postgraduate. You could do a master's. These are different things you can do. Workshops. So workshops is also good as well, because workshops will actually, if you want to do a new career, you could do a workshop. That could be online, it could be in physical, and then actually that also makes sure that you definitely want to go that route. And I would say this is a good thing, is keep your job what you got at the moment, but if it's an on-weekend workshop, do that. So instead of another thing as well, if instead of you going on a holiday for a week, maybe what you do is do a workshop for a week, and then find out whether that's what you want to change your career, is what you want to do. And these are good things to do. So the thing is, it's better that you, even if a workshop, say £300-400, it's obviously more than that, but if that's how much it is, then you realise that's not what you want to change your career. That's better that you spend £300-400 than spending thousands of trying to change your career when it's not going to work. And your heart's not in it in the end. That can happen. And through someone who's myself, who I have done a lot of my own self-businesses as well as worked, I've always done the two, and then done sometimes where I've just been self-employed, and then I've been told when I've worked in a company. You have to learn these things, and you learn what works and what doesn't. And even, this is actually a big thing I think as well, is even if you have a failure, you learn from them lessons, and then you actually then learn them lessons and don't hopefully make the same mistakes. Further education, like I said, university, education, so forth. Volunteering, now that's also very useful. I know people don't like that because people think of volunteering as free work. It's not. It also is sometimes what you do is you learn the skills, and you can learn some skills on that job, or like helping to know whether that works for you. And side projects, which I call side hustles. And These are things, why am I interested in this? Well, as a hypnotherapist, one of the things I do help a lot of people is actually career change. A lot of people say, I am working in an office, I hate my job, I want to do something else, I want to do this. So what my thing will be is finding out where their blocks are, why they haven't done that in the first place, what's their fears, what's their phobias within doing that. Are they worried they're going to not have so much money? Are they worried about what their families or their parents think, or their husband or their partners think, or whatever it is? There's a lot of things. And then the fact would be that they would work with me on a program to then get over that, to be that they're fully fledged and know where they're going to go, and then they would hopefully make that career change. And that can sometimes take 2 months, they leave a job, could take a year, whatever that is, or building that up. And that's kind of what the prep I give for people in my work. Number 4, main thing, is networking. So connect with professionals in your target industry. So that's, again, very targeted. People think of the word targeted is business-like. It's not. Targeted is like, if you want to be good at something, say you wanted to become an artist, like a painter, you don't go and hang out with a bunch of people who don't know how to draw. Now, you could learn some things from people from a business if they were like a builder or something, besides, because people self-employed can still teach you things. But if you want to be around artists, you would want to be around an artist. So that is targeting. Go to art galleries, go to art conventions. It's the same if you wanted to get into property game, you'd go to property conventions, right? Or property shows. Yeah, whatever it is, you've got to kind of be very strategic. That's where most people fail, because they don't plan. They just go, yeah, I'm going to do this, and they quit everything, and then they go into it, and then it ends up being a disaster. And sometimes, if you can get away with it, and you sometimes have the momentum to carry on and really work hard at it, you can sometimes get through. But generally, most people fail. And you've got to remember, most new businesses, 4 out of 5 fail within the first year. So it's something to consider. The next thing is attend industry events, conferences and meetups, like I said, conferences, so forth. If you're going to, if you want to go to a building convention, you're not going to go to just go to a building site, you're going to go to a building show and find out how people buy properties, how that works, how you work in them things, yeah? Use LinkedIn and other professional networking platforms. Again, LinkedIn is probably the best because it's the most people on it, and it teaches you a lot of stuff. There's a lot of groups on there that helps you with that. And join professional associations related to your desired field. Yeah, so again, join associations, join societies, learn about that stuff. Number 5, practical transition strategies. Consider a gradual transition. This is probably the best bit of advice I can give you, is part-time work. So if you're doing full-time work, then do a part-time where you're learning that other skill and you're making sure that you definitely want to do it, but also do the training at the same time. The thing is, if you want to change your direction or you want to change your career, I'm going to tell you now, it's not just a walk in the park, it's a lot of work. And you, even when you do self-employment, you think, oh, well, I'm not working a 9 to 5, I'm going to have loads of time off. No, you don't. You work your arse off all the time. So again, it's part-time work, looking at that. Freelancing. So again, if you do freelance, so say if you wanted to be a graphic designer or something, then you've learned the skills, but then do that and get clients and work with that. So you can use Fiverr for that. Consulting is very useful. So again, consulting other people in whatever that is. Now obviously it depends what job you do now, because you obviously can't do inside trading if you work in finance and so forth, but you can also do consulting and helping other people, independence, whatever that is. Yep. Side hustle, again, similar thing, do your main job, but the side hustle is part of that. And what you can do as well is look for opportunities within your current organisation which might align with your new career goals. That's always something as well, because most people, if you're good at your job, most people in a job, in your managers, don't want to get rid of you. So they may find there's actually something within which aligns with what you want to do. Most people, I would say, actually want to do completely 360s or 180s. But again, this is something, again, up to you. And again, when you discuss with people. Be prepared and potentially starting at a lower level or a reduced salary. That is quite common. If something, you're starting, you can actually be starting from the beginning. And this is something what people have to realise, that sometimes you're not going to be at that high roller level if you go into something which is a career change. So this is something you have to consider, and most people, that's where they get scared of, but again, if they think and they strategise, they can do very well. Number 6 is financial planning. So financial planning this is probably the best one, I'd say, is build an emergency fund. So instead of spending money on wasteful products or buying things. Now, the big thing is, a lot of people sometimes do is they buy too many courses or things like that. But again, emergency fund is always look at when you're starting up a business. They recommend you have at least 5 to 10 grand to start any business. And then one of my first businesses, when I was a kid, I used to buy second-hand records and sell them. I did it with vintage clothing. I did it with a skincare brand. We didn't start with that amount of money, but these are things you need to do. So you need to build an emergency fund so that if when you do leave that career, that you have that ready for a business, and be prepared that some things, your budget will probably have to change. Create a budget that supports your transition. So again, be realistic. So if you think it's going to cost you, if you decide to leave your job and it's going to cost you 20 grand to do a new career and train and so forth, double it. Because trust me, there's going to be some mistakes you make. You will make mistakes. We all do. Because there's certain things you may learn. As much as you can learn from the courses and everything, sometimes that transition can be a bit like this. Yeah? So just always be wary of that. Consider the financial implications of potential training or education. So again, if you've got a family, you've got to think of like, how can you support the family if you're then leaving your main job and then you're doing education? Can you do that? These are all things, and this is where people get very stuck, because it's like, oh, have I left it too late? Nothing is left too late. People can always relearn, they can always change. But again, you either make that choice and you keep choosing the position where you are, where you're unhappy, or you change to become happy, but you may have to go through some struggles to get to that happiness. Right? That pursuit of happiness is probably one of the challenging parts of any career change. Having a financial buffer to support yourself during the transition. Again, same thing, you need that support. And like I said, if you have a budget and you think there's that budget, double it. That would probably be my big advice from things I have where I've messed up on businesses. I will be honest, if I've messed up on a business or it hasn't done well, or I've just made a couple of errors, because sometimes we can go gung-ho into things. We shouldn't, yeah? So again, just be a bit more strategic in that. So number 7, this is a big one, mindset and emotional preparation. Your mindset is everything. Be patient with yourself. Absolute thing about patience. Most people are impatient. This is a Western issue. We need to be patient. It will take time. If you're transitioning, it could take you 6 months, it could take you a year, it could take you 2 years. But the starting block is the beginning bit. That's the biggest hurdle, is the starting block. Then you've got to look at how that works. So when I work with future life progression, that's when I show people how they are 6 months ahead, a year ahead, 2 years ahead, and so forth. This is very important for people so they can see exactly where their strategies are, where they get their advice for, what they need to do, where they need to get their resources, and plan that correctly. It's very important. Expect challenges and setbacks. If you think it's going to be smooth sailing from one career to another, think again, because honestly, you'd be a bit of a dickhead if you think you're just going to go from there to there straight away. You're not. There are some people who are lucky as shit, right? They are. They are the type of people who will fall into a barrel full of shit and ended up smelling roses, and there's some people who end up in situations and they're still, neglected, right? This is going to be challenging, and you have got to be prepared for that challenge. So expect them challenges and setbacks, yeah? Maintain a positive and growth-oriented mindset. So again, little baby steps, and then keep looking at growth, how that's getting better, how I'm improving on that, and how you get better. You get refined. You see, I come from a background that when I was a kid, I taught myself how to play piano, and I taught myself, I liked music, so I knew it was always work, practice, work, practice, work, practice. Keep practicing, keep developing, keep performing. That's the discipline I have. I had that for years, so that was always installed in me, and that was a personal thing. That was not my parents telling me you've got to practice every day. That's something I did. And you have to do that. So that development and discipline is key. It's like, if you say, I'm going to lose weight, you don't go to the gym. That's not discipline. That's just like, I can't be bothered because it's too cold. You have to have that discipline. And discipline and consistency is the biggest thing. Another thing as well, it says, this is something they do recommend. Seek support from friends, family, or a career coach. I would say a career coach or a coach would help you. Friends and family, that's a very dubious one, because some friends see you at certain statuses, and family are the same. If families are very much social conditioning, they want you to do a certain role, that can be a problem. Friends, I would say, from my experience, and this is just my experience, I think your friends should be your friends. They shouldn't ever be knowing about your business, period. They shouldn't know about your business, what you're doing, what you're aiming for, what your goals are, because unfortunately, as much as friends can be encouraging, most friends are not. most friends have a very much a level of egotistical issues. So if your friend decides they want to stay in their job and they're unhappy, and then you leave that job, which you work with them and they're your friend, and then you do very well, their ego may not handle that. So again, you've got to consider it. And I would say this as well: if you do a business, do not do business with family or friends. I think it's the worst thing to do. I think you should always look at, when you work with people, that they're very good as professionals, but you don't always mean your friends. Sometimes you work with professionals and you become friends. That happens too. But it's like, for example, as a hypnotherapist, I work with a client. Generally, I don't do business with a client. And number 8, a practical next steps for you to change your career or direction in life. Update your resume, and that people can do that. They can give you advice on that. Also ask ChatGPT and things like that to help you out with that. You can do that, or look at sources. Change your LinkedIn profile to highlight transferable skills. Do that also with your CV and any CV site. Craft a compelling narrative about your career change. So again, you need to understand that, about how you can do that, and also explain that when you're going for jobs, wherever that is. So you can explain why you changed your career, these things. You've got to have a good reason for doing it, not just because, I wanted more money or anything. It's got to be for another, a bigger reason. And people do like that. When people take a career change, they do actually admire it. Be prepared to explain your motivation during interviews. So this is if you've done one job and you want to do something else in another company or wherever that is. Think about that with your interview technique. And consider gaining experience of prior internships or volunteer work. So we've said about this before. And remember, this career change is a journey. It requires courage, planning, and persistence. And don't be afraid to take calculated risk and invest in your personal and professional growth. Now, to finish off, one of the things I will also say is the same way how you plan things is also how you should be ideal in how you plan where your friendships are, where that works, where you're going in life, where that goes to where you live, and so forth. It's all the same. I think more people need to be more organised and just don't let things happen. Because things don't just come to you, you have to actually put the work in to get it. So that would be my best advice for this. And hopefully that helps. And over time, if you are interested in my services, which is to help you find your blocks, find your hurdles, and to get over them, reframe them, then please, with hypnotherapy, please message me here on Instagram, YouTube. You'll find this on LinkedIn. Message me whatever platform you find me on, or email me, and all these things are on. You can email me at richclarkcoach@gmail.com, and my website is going to be redone, but you can find me on the website, and should be a contact thing soon on there, because there's been one missing. It's just had an update, it may messed up. So again, hopefully that helps you, and speak to you soon.